The value of a fully autonomous car is, we think, perhaps 5 times more valuable than a non-autonomous car.
Why?
Well, the utility of a car, typically a passenger car, is going to be maybe 10 hours a week, maybe 12. If you say like somebody's going to drive an hour and a half a day on average, so maybe an hour commute per day and then an occasional long trip, but figure it's like 10, 12 hours a week is typical for a passenger vehicle. And then you also have a lot of costs associated with parking. You need a garage, or you've got to buy a parking space, or you've got to get a parking ticket at the mall. There's a lot of costs associated with cars. And now, if you've got a car that's autonomous, that can go around and essentially be like an autonomous Uber, the utility, I think, is going to be, well, it's going to be much higher. Perhaps, and this again, there's so much speculative.
I understand. We're talking about robo-taxis here, or at least what people have called, or you have called.
Yeah, like an autonomous Uber is a way to think about it. So perhaps the utility then would be on the order of 50 hours a week. This is just a guess. Say there's 168 hours in a week, and probably, as a rough guess, an autonomous car will be able to be active instead of for 10 hours a week, probably in our view for about 50. But it's the same car, and it costs the same to build.
But I want to understand the business model a little bit, because I'm buying the car, and instead of it parking at my lot while I'm working, it goes off and picks people up and drops them off.
Yes.
Who's making the money from that? I assume that's the value add you're talking about. Is it a revenue share? Do you have this model sort of planned out specifically as how it would look?
Yeah, it's been in the Tesla terms and conditions for quite a long time.
Oh, it has.
Yeah. So the owner of the car would make I don't know, some amount. Who knows what it would be, but perhaps it could be a 50-50 split or 70-30. I don't know. But the cars are if you buy a Tesla car, it can only be used in the Tesla network. It cannot be used in someone else's network. That means that if the car is able to be used 5 times as much, Tesla is likely to make basically 2 or 3 times the original value or sale value of the car in robotaxi revenue.
Right.
This is gigantic. As I said, it would be like selling cars for software margins, because in fact it is software.
Right.
So instead of effectively having, say, 25% margins, it might be 70% or more. And I mean, the free cash flow associated with that is actually truly a staggering amount. The best analysis that I've seen thus far about this is from Kathy Wood's firm, ARK Invest.
We know Kathy well.
Yeah, she's great.
Yep. I would assume you like her, obviously. She's been a huge proponent of your stock for many years. Was right, by the way, very early on.
She was right.
Yeah.
I thought she was being optimistic, but she turned out to be, in fact, almost spot on.
Yeah. And I am familiar somewhat with her analysis. What a lot of investors come back to, or everybody, is your promises of full autonomy. And you seem to be saying, again, you've said it before, you know that.
Yes, no, I mean...
You said it at 19, I think about 20, and
I've certainly been, I guess I have somewhat of a pathological optimism.
Well, it works, by the way, because you don't end up with this unless you're optimistic. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, who would try to do this and rockets if they weren't pathologically optimistic?
No, you'd have to be.
Yeah, so there's a double-edged sword, I guess.
But do you ever say to yourself, all right, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here? I mean, when you said again, we're going to have full autonomy.
No, I didn't say we will. I said I think. In my opinion, we probably will.
Okay, right. There's a number of qualifiers there. I think, in my opinion, we probably will. So what do you think, in your opinion, you probably will? When?
I mean, it does look like it's going to happen this year.
Why?
Well, we're now at the point where the car can drive on highways and in cities and where a human intervention is extremely rare. So, I mean, I was able to drive for several days just dropping a navigation pen in random locations in the greater Austin area with no interventions. And the same in San Francisco, which is a very difficult place to drive.